Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing all sorts of things, but we'll primarily be talking about selling on Amazon FBA 2023. We're going to be talking about newsletters and some AI. So, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm.
What do I love about going live with a podcast? Well, it's definitely not the tech issues that happen. And right now, my computer's blinking. I have a black screen half the time. I don't know what's going on. Kelsey had some problems, but we are here. Man, if this would have happened episode 1, I would have been in the fetal position. Now it's only half fetal position. But today we have a guest. He's our most popular guest, or the guest that has been on the show the most times. He's a good friend of mine. He has, now let me see if I get this correct because it constantly changes. He is part of Helium 10. And by the way, in case you didn't know this, I keep forgetting about this, but I joined Helium 10 way back, and I joined Kevin's group. It was with Manny Coates and Kevin, and it was called the Illuminati until they had some problems with the name Illuminati, so they changed it to Helium 10 Elite Mastermind. So that's what Kevin takes care of. He also has an incredible course called the Freedom Ticket. He also helps mentor and collaborate with, I don't know, thousands and thousands of different Amazon users. And I don't know how many sales he'll probably be able to tell us in revenue. I don't know, hundreds of millions of people, maybe billions of dollars in sales. He also organizes the $1 Billion Seller Summit. As you can tell, I get revved up when I get to talk to Kevin because he's always got some new and great information. Okay, but before we get to Kevin, let's have a talk or a word from our sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skilled and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today, and now let's get back to the show. Where is the boy? I don't even know if I'm going to be able to hear him.
I hope you can. We're having some major tech issues coming onto the show, but I think are we good to go?
I think so. If my screen can stay, it's off again. But, you know, I'm going to wing it. I can't see anything. And if you can't see me, just let me know. No, maybe that's a good thing. I've got a voice for radio or a face for radio.
Everything on your side is good to go. So
okay, good. Look at you with your new studio. This is the first.
Well, I've had it for over 2 weeks now.
Yeah, but together.
Together, you know? This is the first together.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You even got the little orange coming in through the back there.
We got some nice like Star Wars vibes going on.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But, all right, so I've got some updates. I just want to say hello to everyone first. We've got Drip joining us, Amar, Cool Hand 99, Steve, Rad, and we just want to give a quick shout out to Amy's Q4 Mastery Summit happening right now. So if you haven't had time to sign up, you can still sign up. It's Norm50 for 50%, or Norm Q4 for 50% off. But yeah, shout out to Amy and the summit happening right now. So make sure you check that out. And
and by the way, Kevin and I are on a panel tomorrow afternoon at 4:00 Eastern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, over there. So if you want to check that out.
And we have our video as well.
Me and the Blunder Boy.
That's right. And welcome, Chuck. Big news for the episode 500. We officially got the sign up page up. So if you go over, you can sign up for our Wheel of Kelsey. This is a giveaway that's over $25,000 in value. that we're going to be giving away to someone lucky. You have to sign up for the form. It's just name and email, but sign up there and you'll be good to go. You also get the update of when we're going live with the links. So make sure you sign up. Links are in the down below down here. So just do that.
And it's over 25K, and it's probably going to get a lot higher than that.
Yeah, it looks like Cool Hand just signed up. So yeah, good luck everyone, and it's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, Kevin's prize is $6,000 or $7,000, a VIP ticket to the Hawaii BDSS event. So yeah, that's just one of the prizes.
All right, so I think that's it for me. We'll keep this short and sweet today, and yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, we're going to be talking about a ton of different things today, but one of the things I want, if you can, tune in on Friday, because I want to give you a couple of updates that are really cool about the influencer thing that we're doing, and just some new techniques and just an update overall about what's happening over there. So it's, in general, it's going very well. But why don't we get into it? Let's sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk to Kevin King if he has his cup.
Oh, I don't. I have.
Oh, you.
I can't even drink Coke Zero right now. I can't drink. How? This is torture. You of all people will understand this. I had a tooth pulled yesterday. Pepsi. What the heck is this Pepsi crap?
No Coke Zero.
No. Well, I can't even drink soda because I had a tooth pull, and the doctor. I get out of the chair, and they're like, for the next 2 weeks, no carbonated beverages. I was like, you're kidding, right? And they're like, no carbonated beverages, no soda because the acid. And my dentist is always telling me the same thing when I go in to have my teeth cleaned. Like, you need to quit drinking soda. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to do it. I actually tell him, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. You can just fix it.
Yeah.
So I'm being good for at least a couple days. Well, because it's a hole in my mouth because I got to put an implant in 3 months. So I'm like, all right. So it's like, all right, how am I going to survive this? I'm like,
oh no.
And they said no smoking, so I can't for 2 weeks. So I can't have a cigar, which means like in San Diego, I can't have a cigar. I'm like, that rule's thrown out. I'm ignoring that one too.
Did you see the post I did of my dad and I?
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Your dad looks younger than you.
Well, that's my lifestyle. Oh, but yeah, that was an awesome visit, and we had a few cigars. Yeah, it was great.
That was cool. That was cool. And you told me about the little book he wrote.
Yeah,
that's awesome too.
So, in case you don't know, like my dad's an entrepreneur, and he's been like that.
A serious entrepreneur. For those of you who don't know, and not just an entrepreneur, but Norm got his entrepreneurial blood from his dad.
Yeah, he is I hate using the word serial, but he sees something and he goes for it. Anyways, it was great because we did talk a lot about that, and he won't go on a podcast, but it would be awesome to have him on. But learned a lot. He wrote a book just for the family, not for anybody else, but for the family, about from starting, going to Barclays Bank back in Montreal, and just starting off as a junior clerk and everything that he did from that point on. And it was amazing. I didn't know half the stuff that he did. So anyway, you told me to do this a while back, and I would suggest to anybody that has a family, like stories of your life, just it's so easy now, especially with ChatGPT, that can really help it out. Or I think it's called story.ai. You can pump it in and it'll prompt you for questions, and you just answer them, and it comes out with a chapter. But yeah, I told you I'm going to start to do that, like right after I saw what my dad did. It was great.
Yeah, I told you my father had done that. My father's in his 80s, so like 3 years ago, went to visit him, and he gave me and my brother, there's just two of us, he gave us this like 25-page printout with stapled. I'm like, what's this? He's like, oh, it's just some short stories I wrote. So he sat down at the computer and wrote like 1 or 2 paragraphs, just short stories, like the day I met your mom, and this is what happened. He tells the story of how he took someone else's seat in a movie theater. And he talks about some of his experiences in Vietnam, or the day he had to, he loves dogs, and the day when he was 13, he had to go out and shoot his dog in the head and put him down. Just all this interesting stuff. It's like, I've reread it like 3 times. It's fascinating stuff. But I always say that people, and you and I always sit around, smoke a cigar at events or at my house or wherever we may be. And there's always just every time there's some cool new story that comes out of one of our experiences. It's like, man, you just need to document this stuff. It's like crazy stuff. I mean, most people have 1 or 2 of these in their lives, not tons like we do.
Yeah.
And that's why, like last week, you got into the Dream 100 last week.
Oh, yes, I got to talk about that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So that's random. So I remember Norm, I told Norm I was doing this. He's like, well, I better not be one of the last ones. I'm like, well, because there's 100, so it's going to take 2 years to announce this whole list almost.
I'll be number 101.
and it's I have the list. I have 5 spots open in case I want to add or change something. Yeah. And it's random. We draw them out of a hat, so they're not in any particular order. But Norm's name got drawn last week, so
with
he was
20.
on there. And then I told people, you got to ask you sometime about your kidnapping story, or or some of the other, the guy with the slit wrist and Hawaii or whatever. It's just cool stories that you have that people just have no idea.
And the hijack plane and all that stuff.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I didn't even mention that one.
The guy dying on the plane. Oh, yeah,
I did take a little joke at Kelsey, though. I said, you have three sons. One's a doctor, one's a talented musician, one has a wheel named after him.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So sorry, Kelsey, when you read that, if you got to thanks, Kevin. Appreciate that.
Oh man. No.
I had to do it.
Oh, that's funny. But so by the way, if you haven't signed up for Kevin's newsletter, it's the best newsletter on the market. I was talking to somebody today at La Vida, and we were talking about newsletters. And she said, yeah, I subscribe to Kevin's newsletter, and it's fantastic. It's the best newsletter out there. And I said, really, do you read anybody else's newsletter in the Amazon space? She goes, no. I said, well, other than the Lunch with Norm newsletter. She goes, oh, well, I'll sign up for that. But it is good. It's very informative. And it's interesting because I take time and I go through and I learn a lot of stuff just going through, because you're hit different areas, and it's just very well thought out. You're spending a lot of time on this.
A little bit. I mean, it's not too bad, but it's probably about 4 or 5 hours to put each one together. Right now, I'm doing it. It's not AI written. It's me doing it,
and you can tell.
But at some point, I won't be able to. I'll hire someone to do some of it. I'll oversee it, but I want to set the tone, and we're doing some testing with different things, seeing what people like, what they don't like right now. But it's more like a magazine than a newsletter.
So, and this is one of the topics I want to talk about today is newsletters. Why? When you first told me about newsletters, I thought, are you kidding? Come on, Kevin. There's so many other things out there. Why newsletters? And then you explained it to me. Why don't you just tell a little bit about the story about why you even thought of going into newsletters?
Yeah. So years ago, about 25 years ago, Mark that produces the $1 Billion Seller Summit with me. He and I we still have a business together, and we had a business together, and we're trying to figure out a way. This is early days of the internet. So it's before social media, before all these other ways to build audiences. And we're like, how can we build an audience? And I'd done some stuff by mail in the past, like a newsletter or a kind of little thing by mail. I was like, why don't we do an online newsletter and build an audience? People that we had a membership based site where people could pay $29.95 a month. And in order to get them to pay that, well, it's like, why don't we create something of value and deliver a bunch of value to them for a while? Then eventually they'll become fans, they'll fall in love with us, and they'll buy what we're selling. It also makes it so that they don't feel like they're being marketed to. They're getting valuable information, and they don't feel marketed to. So if I do plug something in there, hey, we have a calendar coming out, or we have this, it feels more natural. And so we created a newsletter. This is late 90s, early 2000s, and we were sending out. We got to the point where we're sending out 250,000 a day, 250,000 people a day, and we had it down to we developed our own system to do this. I had two guys that I paid. I guess today you'd call them VAs. Back then that really didn't exist. That were remote, and they would go and they'd scour the internet for stories. The newsletter was about pretty women. So anything, it wasn't some porno thing. I want to clear that up. When you say pretty women, that's the first thing that comes to some people's mind. It was about anything from Farrah Fawcett to, the Hawaiian Tropic Girls to, it could be Hugh Hefner. It could be anything to deal with, the girl in Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White, or whatever, anything to deal with. It's kind of like almost celebrity type of thing, but with beautiful women. And so they would go and find stories, and we had a back-end database, and they would dump in 50 or 60 links. Like, here's a link to this article, because there was no AI, there was no tool that could just scrape this stuff back then automatically like there are now. And then I would go through, and I had to do this. We did this 7 days a week. And so no matter where I was in the world, I might have been in Costa Rica. I remember I was in Costa Rica one time. There's no internet. Hotels back then didn't have internet. So I was on a satellite phone at $3 a minute. And I had to log in before midnight every night, midnight Central Time, and choose the 5 stories out of these 50 that are going to run. And then they would run almost like a Drudge Report, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
And they would run. Those 5 stories would be in an email subject, and you click to see the whole story. And then we had gaming. And one of the ironic things was we had a game thing where it was like a grow your sword. So you would answer trivia questions, and you'd have there'd be a knight with a sword, because most of our audience was guys. And if you got it right, your sword would grow. If you got it wrong, your sword would shrink. But if you grew your sword all the way out, then you would get free prizes. You might get a free calendar, trading cards, or something like that. So that created interactivity. We had a joke of the day. And I was getting a lot of those jokes from a site called Twisted Humor. We were just kind of lifting them off of there because I can't make up jokes. It turns out Twisted Humor was Manny Coates' website. Way back in the day, before there was a Helium-10, it was just serendipitous that he and I, we were talking about that one time. I was like, holy cow, that was your website I was lifting stuff off of back then. So we did that, and we had some other interactivity, and it did really, really well. We would get on, I told this story in one of my recent newsletters, Jimmy Wells that started Wikipedia. He used to have a site called Bomis, BOMIS, and it was a ring site. So back in the day, before Google, Yahoo was a directory, if you remember. It wasn't a search engine, it was a directory. You type in music, and here'd be a directory of music with subheadings under it, like an outline almost. Well, there's a site called Bomis, and they featured a bunch of pictures of pretty girls, bikini girls wearing shirts, or just, stuff you'd see on TikTok or right now, that kind of thing, PG, but sexy. And so but there's a ring site. So at the bottom, it'd be like next page and previous page buttons. So you'd see something and you're like, whoa, what's the next page? And you just go in this ring, kind of like scrolling on a social media, but there's a ring. It's the same concept. And they would feature us, and we'd get tons of traffic, and they'd send us their t-shirts, and we'd shoot one of our models in their t-shirt, and they give us even more traffic. So we got a lot of signups from that. Howard Stern at that time was still on regular radio before he went to satellite. And we would send models to New York. We had 2 models there the day before September 11th happened, actually. And they just got out just in time before those planes happened. It was pretty scary. But we would send models up to Howard Stern, and they'd get on the air. I went up there a few times, and every time we had a server, 2 servers at a little place, and we had to have someone go over there to restart the server. We get so much traffic whenever he mentioned the website, and it would just crash the server, and we had to have someone restart the machine, and we got signups off of that. So it worked really, really well. We did that for like 4 or 5 years, and then this Can Spam Act came out.
Yep.
So all of a sudden we started going into spam folders and promotional folders, and people were complaining that I'm not getting the newsletter, and it just became a mess. So we actually just kind of backed off of it and went a different way. We had the guys at USA Today contact us, Hallmark contact us, wanted us to do stuff. It was big. It was going well. So I just kind of went away from that. And then I went to an AI conference, Perry Belcher's AI conference in April of this year. And he was talking about showing all the cool stuff about AI, and it was a crash course in AI and all the cool tools. And he's saying one of the cool things that you can do with this is newsletters. There's newsletters out there that have been built up and sold for millions of dollars. There's one called the Milk Road on crypto. The guy built it for 8 or 9 months and sold it for 8 figures. There's another one called the Daily Hustle that sold for 27 million. And now they have the podcast, My First Million, if you're familiar with that podcast. One of the guys on there did that. And there's another one that sold the Morning Brew sold for like 75 million. Another one sold for 525 million. So people are like, holy cow, there's money in this newsletters. And a lot of people are like, I remember my ex-wife's at one point said, email's dead, Kevin. You got to get with the times. The young people don't go on email. They're on social media. And I was like, bullshit. People still read emails. They get a lot of emails, but if the email is good, they will read it. So I was like, thinking about AI to do newsletters, I was like, that's not the way to do it. That's going to be too impersonal. It's going to be too much just like a list, a compilation of things. And that's what a lot of people do. And there's no personality to it. And it's the same stuff that you see everywhere else. It's like, but if I take my old principles and apply it to this and use AI to maybe either help brainstorm something or to help automate some of the process of pulling in all the data, and assembling all the data, we can do something really, really cool with this. And then I started thinking about it. It's like, most people in this newsletter business are from the publishing world. They know how to sell ads or they know how to write, but they're not product people. What if you combine newsletters with product sellers, with us Amazon and e-commerce sellers? You could blow this up. Everybody's always talking about you need to build an audience to sell, and go create a Facebook group and build an audience and, get 1,000 people and then launch your product or get people on your Twitter feed. And those are all great. And you should definitely use those, but you don't control them. You're at I can post something on my Facebook, and this happens with $1 Billion Seller Summit. I have a group, there's 500 something people in this group that have been to the events, and I can post something in there and it'll show me 38 people saw this. That doesn't mean they saw it. It means it went through their feed.
Yep.
And I'm like, and then another time it's 102, and I have no control. You try to do all the games, don't put a link in the email, in the message, get people to respond and reply to try to juice the algorithm. And you can get those up a little bit, but you have no control. With a newsletter, you have the email address, if it's being delivered or not. And the chances are someone's at least going to open it. They may not read it, but at least, if you do it right, you should, in the newsletter industry, a 40% open rate is considered really good. With $1 Billion Seller Summits, we're approaching 60%, which is really high. And a really high click-through rate. The average email that you send out promotional wise, you're selling something, might be if it's a cold list, might be 1 or 2%. If it's a list of your current customers, you might get 15, 20, 25%. Sometimes you might spike that up if it's a really good subject line or something, and then provide value. So I was like, why? I want to do this with our physical products where if we have I have a dog product that's all made out of sustainable stuff. The dog audience is huge. It's half of the United States and Canada has a dog. So that's too big of a wide audience, but there's dog people that are also into sustainability. So they will buy products made out of, recycled bottles and stuff. And we have those kind of products in one of my brands. So what if I create a newsletter of dog lovers, and it's all dog stuff that are into sustainability. So the newsletter has stuff about dogs and sustainability. It's, dog tricks or dog tips or here's a cute dog or whatever. And we do that. And then every once we can test things in there with affiliate links and see, does our audience want a dog? Do they like dog beds or do they want this? And we can see what people click. And then maybe that gives me product ideas. And then when we have our own products, we can launch it to that audience that's already very familiar with our brand, loves getting the newsletter because it provides value and entertainment and that kind of thing. So that's where we're going with it. But I was like, I need to test this first and figure out what are the best tools, what's the best way to do it, how much time does this really take to do this properly. And that's why I said, well, I already have an audience in Amazon. Let me start there. And so that's what we're doing we're doing a lot of testing right now and kind of figuring out the systems. But the idea is to launch this into multiple industries. And we're working on something now with, there's 117 different podcasts in this space. And there's a lot of good information that's said in these podcasts. And sometimes there's a lot of crap. Nobody has time to listen to all that stuff. So we're working on something where we're going to have a weekend edition that summarizes a bunch of these podcasts. And we're working on a special tool to do that in a really cool way using a combination of AI and humans. And so, and then We'll do it for products, like I said. We'll do it for a bunch of industries. And the thing is, though, it's a hot topic now. It's the shiny object. If you go
Right.
out there in the internet marketing world, Perry Belcher at last week at his AI summit in Orlando he showed that here's AI. Here's 5 ways to make money with AI. One almost like print on demand stuff and having it automatically create images and stuff for print on demand. Another one was done for you services. Another one was some other stuff. One of them was newsletters, one of the 5, and he went off to newsletters and talked about it a lot. But it's the same thing with newsletters as it is with selling on Amazon. You remember all the gurus in the beginning, not as much now, but in the beginning days, were look at this screenshot. I made $1 million in a week selling on Amazon. You can too. Those are the outliers. Those are not the normal people. So these guys selling for crazy amounts that I said earlier, those are outliers. You're probably not going to do that. Newsletters are hard work. You can automate part of it with AI, and some of the tools are great, but they're freaking hard work. You need to be able to write. You need to be able to curate. You need to be able to assimilate. And a lot of people don't have those skills. But right now, a lot of people are seeing dollar signs and they're jumping into it. And
So, Kev, do you think that this is going to be back in the ASM days, right? ASM 1, 2, 3, those were the heyday. You think that's going to happen with newsletters?
there's going to be some newsletters that make a lot of money.
But I'm talking about conferences and events, and tons of people pay a few $1,000 to learn a little bit of knowledge.
Yes, that's going to happen. I mean, I could teach a course now. I have a 95-page document of all my notes of newsletters. I've researched the heck out of this. I've done like 4 or 5, even though I knew what to do, I did 4 or 5 classes on it. I did a whole bunch of stuff. I could do a whole big newsletter course right now. And at some point I might, on exactly how to do it. And these are the tools. I did a little bit of BDSS, a little bit, there's been 4 people told me they've launched off of that. My trainer just launched a newsletter. I told him about it. He just launched a newsletter, and he's, I'm helping him a little bit. But why I think this, to answer your question, why this is going to explode is because Perry Belcher said, hey, we can use AI and we can automate this. He's doing 19 newsletters right now.
Wow.
In different industries, and he's automating most of it with AI. Three Filipino VAs and 1 person in the US. And to be honest, they're not very good newsletters. They're okay. I've seen some of them. They're basically drudge reports, just assembling stuff. But that's okay, and that'll last for a while. But I don't think, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, I don't think those are going to last very long. People get tired of them. There's no personality. There's no uniqueness to them. They're just the same old thing, and anybody can do that. And they're pulling from the same stuff. And so he has a software called Letterman.ai that's part of his Ignite thing that he's selling. So he's going to get all these people coming into this trying to do newsletters, and he's about to speak at Funnel Hacking Live, Russell Brunson's event next week, with 7,000 people there on newsletters talking about the same thing. These are 7,000 like serious internet marketers. They're all going to jump on it. Not all, but a lot of them. And then he's speaking at Go High Level in Dallas in October on the same thing. So you're going to see it explode out there. The opportunities are good, but if it is a different business model. But you can make it self-sustainable. I mean, just right now on my newsletter, I have 1 VA that's helping me do some of the grunt work that I don't want to do. I'm paying him $700 a month, but we're making more money than that just off of referring people to other newsletters. There's a whole ecosystem where when someone signs up, you might see, oh, you might also like these newsletters. And if you click on any of those or you say yes, I get $1 or $2 for every one of those. So last month it was like $2,900 that we made just off of that. That pays the VA salary, and it's a little bit of extra money. It's not, that doesn't pay for my time, but my time is made. It's a funnel. I mean, there's a BDSS virtual summit. There's the in-person summit. There's some other stuff I'm coming out with. You'll see around the Dream 100. I haven't announced yet. Some other cool stuff that we're doing. That's going to be cool. But you build that audience, and people are looking forward to it. Now, if someone doesn't get the newsletter, they're like, "Where is it? I want it." And that's what you want to create, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of people, I think, are going to fail. So you're going to see a lot of crash and burns, and you're going to see some people rise to the top. But I think the biggest opportunity is for us as product sellers, because we know the Amazon space, we know products. And if you can figure out the newsletter space to build audiences, I think that the mix of those is extremely powerful for launching products and creating raving fans, and can increase your multiple.
Okay. So it is the bottom of the hour. And Kels, can you come on for a sec?
Sure
We
can.
had technical problems at the beginning.
Yes, we did.
Do we have a giveaway?
That is up to you two fine gentlemen.
Well, I think, because I'm not going to throw Kevin into a corner with this one, but how about I give away some of your service, your social media service?
Go for it.
All right. So Kelsey will, how about an hour of Kelsey's time? He thought 30 minutes. How about an hour of Kelsey's time, and he'll be talking to you about influencer or the social media side of things. So if you're interested in that, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry, and I'll throw in a press release as well. So that's a couple $100 value. And then Kelsey is priceless. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. Kelsey, can we go to a sponsor and we'll come right back? This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram, and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you can build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit SureGoMarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show. All right. So, Kevin, now let's talk a little bit about AI. So both of us have been very interested in AI and AI development, and not just simple prompting, but you just went over, I missed it, unfortunately, but the AI boot camp, or what was it called? AI
Bot Summit.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about it. What'd you learn? Anything new? Probably lots.
There's some. I mean, I learned more at the first one because it was still kind of new to me at that time. But yeah, it was good. As far as what I learned, I mean, there's some cool tools that were shared. He did a cool time like he did at the Driven deal. So there's some pretty cool tools that were shared. There's some cool ways, some print on demand opportunities that I really hadn't thought about. I don't know if I'll go into them, but they're still nevertheless kind of cool. And yeah, that's listening to him talk about newsletters and disagreeing with a few things that he said. But no, overall it was good. As far as it's a rapidly moving time. There's great opportunity in there. There's a lot of people selling get rich quick courses, but there's some incredible stuff that you can do. I know even I don't know if you're in the WhatsApp group, I think, for $1 Billion Seller Summit, right?
Come on.
But I don't know if you saw it. I know you're a busy man. I don't know if you have, but yesterday Karen posted this really cool video, this cool tool that will basically create virtual influencers. So you can use Midjourney, create a person. You can use a reference picture. Say, I want someone look kind of like this. Midjourney will create a unique image, so you're not violating anybody's rights or anything. And then you can take that and put it into Discord and with some scripts that these guys show you, and this other little plugin, and you can actually create images in any kind of setting with this person. And it looks real. And then you can go into Google Studio or Google something. I forget the name of it now. Some Google video thing. Actually make videos with them, where you can actually go and you can find a video. It could be you, Norm, just dancing around your office,
like I normally do.
And then you replace your face and you replace your outfit, and you're basically the wireframe. Like they used to do with blue screen, Avatar or whatever. They'd have actors with all these buttons all over them, but you don't need the buttons and wires all over you. You just become the wireframe, and then you replace your whole outfit and your whole face with this sexy woman.
Are you telling me that one day,
and he create his videos and talking about your products, and it's pretty freaking cool.
So one day I might be able to be the poor man's Kevin King.
Well, you got to write your stories first.
But I saw that, and that I didn't get a time to get into it, but I read the post. There's another one that just came out. It was called Mixo.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah.
It's great for just quick landing pages.
Yeah, there's so many tools. There's tens of thousands. A lot of them are garbage.
Yeah.
But there's some actually really cool tools coming out. A lot of these are fly by night tools. There's people trying to get a foothold, but um, there's some really interesting stuff. It's evolving quickly. What you can do, and I'm concerned about the election in the U.S. What's going to happen with deep fakes and
Oh,
everything. It's gonna be bad. I don't know how you're gonna police some of this. And people can get framed, and I don't know. There's a dark side to some of this. I'm not really overly worried about that,
yeah.
but for the average person on the street that doesn't know anything about AI or how things work, I think you can fool them. People that if Jay Leno used to go on the street and ask somebody who's the vice president of the United States, and most of the people didn't know,
Yeah.
those people are going to get fooled by AI, and it's
Very
could lead
easily.
could
Very
be
easily.
it could lead to some bad things.
Yeah. One of the we had Saj Audibus on Monday, and he was talking about I don't even think he said this. I think we were talking about this afterwards, and he was saying that he's a filmmaker, and what he does now is he'll type his scripts into Kyber, and he'll
Mhm.
make these animated videos from it. Have you heard of Kyber?
Yeah, I have. Did you see what Melanie from Avast did? From I don't know what tool she used, but she took pictures from Accelerate last week
Yeah.
that she took just group shots and pictures around Accelerate, and she put it through some tool that actually turned them into an animated cartoon. So it's like cartoon that it took all the pictures and turned them into cartoons, and then animated them in a sequence set to music. It's really cool. And I think it's on her social media. It's on her link. Maybe it's on her LinkedIn. Maybe. But
Huh.
Melanie from Avast, check that. I need to find out what tool that she used for that. But there's so many cool things you can do. I mean, your picture that was in the $1 billion Dream 100,
Yeah.
that's AI. We take a regular picture of you, and then we put a treatment on it using AI.
You run it through Leonardo, or is that through?
No, it's a different software.
Okay.
But yes, I tried a bunch of different ones, and we like this one the best. But that's what we do with. We use it simple things like that, but there's so many uses for it, way beyond what people are hyping in our industry of rewrite your titles and do your listing stuff. There's a lot of value. I mean, Amazon right now, last week they announced, they built in an AI listing builder, and most people, I have not personally tried it, but people that have told me they tried it say it sucks. They would never trust that to write their listing right now. It's not any good, but that'll get better.
Yeah.
And part of that's because Amazon doesn't know what you know about your product. They're just using stuff that's out there. So you should always be able to do it better. AI is not going to replace a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of agency people and saying, what do you think? Are you going to go from 80 people staff to 3? And most of them aren't worried about it. People like Brandon Young at Data Dive, I saw him at Alibaba conference a couple weeks ago. I said, what are you doing? If Amazon makes these switches in the way search works, where they're using more AI and they can really keep what they're saying, according to their scientific papers, is they're going to be able to, you don't need the keyword stuff anymore. The original way you had to put keywords had to match. If I had the word dog bowl, it had to be dog bowl. But if I spelled bowl wrong, I typed it BWOL instead of BOWL, it wouldn't catch it. And then so people started putting misspellings.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amazon switched to upgraded to more a sentient search, so where it would catch those misspellings. Because remember, Helium 10 had it back in the day. Was it called misspellinator or something?
Misspell.
And they took it away when Amazon changed the algorithm. But you needed to do that, and then the algorithm changed to know, like, okay, Empire State Building and tall office building are the same thing. It's a sentient. It's a sentient. What, I can never say the damn word, but it knew that or sneakers and sneakers and running shoes are the same thing. That's the second level where it's at now. But the next level is where they're going to take a single sentence of your picture and know everything they need to know based on past search and their huge library of billions of searches, and know exactly what to serve you up on. So you're not going to need to put all these keywords like Data Dive, where you go and you find the keywords everybody else is missing, and you put them in your listing, and it's a great tool. But I don't know if it's going to be relevant in a year. or
Yeah.
two, unless he makes some changes. I don't know where Amazon's going. The one thing I do think that'll delay this or may postpone it is advertising. And Amazon is not going to sacrifice the 40 plus billion they're going to make this year in pure profit off of selling ads. So if this affects ad revenue in a negative way, I don't think they'll be slow to make any kind of changes. But if they figure out how to make sure this doesn't affect ad revenue and it actually could increase it, I think it could get to the point where you're not even having to do all these ad campaigns. You're just going to say, my budget's $1,000, go spend it. And it's going to optimize it and know exactly what to serve it up for. $1,000, I'm willing to pay this much per click.
Yeah.
And it'll automatically do it. You're not going to have to game it like you are now. So I think there's some big changes coming around what we do, and even product development. Amy Weiss has talked about this. Some others using AI for testing out products in combination with like PickFu and stuff. There's just so much going right now. It's a fascinating time that we're living in.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And I'm not worried about it because we'll evolve as it evolves.
Yeah, it's the same thing as when we went from horse and buggy to the car, or when we went from it's going to be an evolution. Some people are going to lose their jobs. Some people are going to have to adapt, but we'll evolve to it. I mean, you and I go back to, remember when there weren't cell phones. Your son Kelsey probably.
I go back to where there were no phones.
It's payphone. Yeah, no phone. Yeah, when you had to go and the woman had to put the wire in to connect you to your dad.
Yeah.
But now we just take everything for granted. So it's the same thing that's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of people. I saw some studies, only like 20% of the population has even dabbled or even knows about AI. 80% hear about it and that they don't know nothing about it. Only a small percentage have even messed with it. And most of those have only just superficially played with it. And there's only it's 1 or 2% of the population that actually has a clue what's going on right now.
It went on a bit of a decline. So you know how there was a surge.
Yeah.
So I guess everybody's gone on and tried writing poems with it and said, oh, what else do we do? And it came down a bit over the last month or two.
Yeah, it's Open AI or ChatGPT, the big one.
Yeah,
it's gone. Usage has gone down.
Yeah.
They were the fastest to get to 100 million users, and now it's tapered off. And that's because exactly a lot of people got caught up in the hype, and they're like, "Well, I don't know how to use this," or "It didn't do a good job for me." That's because you suck at writing prompts, or you don't understand it. But that'll change over time. It's going to become much more weaved into everybody's life.
Yeah.
And they may not need to know the technical side. It's going to be just in, like Siri is is AI. They'll use it in a more humane way and not really understand the technical back end of it.
I don't know about you, Kev, but in Texas right now, I don't know how hot it is, but it's pretty chilly up here. And I just wanted to let you know that I have my favorite Winnie the Pooh blanket covering my feet.
It's like 90 something degrees here in Austin right now.
Oh,
you were just here. Was it last week you were in Austin?
Yeah.
I wasn't here. So we missed each other. I was gone, but you were here.
Yep. Terry Blacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got my fill. Okay. So let's talk about one last thing, and then we'll hit any questions if there are any. And if you do have any questions about newsletters, AI, or this next topic, just throw it in the comments section. And this is something I heard about just very briefly in passing. I don't know where. And then you put it into your newsletter, and it was Levanta.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that. Not very many people know about Levanta and the service. So
yeah,
you want
to? They spun out of their background's the affiliate marketing world.
Yeah.
And one of the companies that Assembly, the company that bought Helium-10, actually bought one of the companies that was the precursor to Levanta. It was an affiliate marketing company. Reversion was the name of them.
Right. Yeah.
And
direct.
Then they kind of sunsetted that a little bit, and some of those guys went off and started Levanta. So they have a background in the affiliate world, and there's a couple other people doing this same thing right now. I just met a guy in Accelerate last week that's doing the same thing. There's a couple more. But one of the things that like Levant, Maverick X, I think, and some others. But one of the things I like about Levanta is they have over 1,000. It's basically a dashboard, and so you connect your Seller Central account, and it imports all your products, and then you go through and you say which ones do you want to promote. You kind of flag them, checkbox them, and
Mhm.
you say what kind of affiliate commission are you willing to pay to somebody to promote this product. And then on the other side, Levanta has influencers that are in their database that will then go and look for offers. So it's kind of like a matching service. And they also have lots of these blogs, 10 best new blenders of 2023. And Wirecutter is one that's a
Yeah.
hard one to get in, but that's a big one. It's owned by the New York Times and USA Today and several of these other big ones. And so you can submit up to, I think it's 50 per day. You can go out and reach out to these people and submit to them and say, hey, I'd like to offer you guys to promote my blender. I'll give you a 20% discount. So then they automate the whole process behind the scenes of tying that into your brand attribution. So that link that gets you that 10% back. So if you offer a 20% discount on your blender for USA Today to put it in their top 10 blend Christmas gifts of 2023, then you get that 10% attribution bonus back. You're giving them a 20% commission. Levanta charges a 3.5 to 5% fee, depending on your level. So in the end of the day, you're 13 to 15% A cost on a sale. Once you get that 10% back in this example. So that's really good. The whole process is automated and all in one dashboard. So I think it's a really cool concept and a really cool thing that they're doing. And they said the last Prime Day they had clients doing over $1 million just through links and stuff for Prime Day. So I think this fourth quarter, if you can get in that, people, we've talked about Haro in the past, help a reporter out,
Yeah.
where there's
Yeah.
people will post on there and they'll say, hey, I'm writing a story for Cosmopolitan magazine. I need to know the 5 best beauty. I'm looking for beauty products to feature in our holiday gift guide. And you respond back and like, oh, mine, and they'll pick some of those and feature them for free. I did this a few years ago, and I got on TV, not Good Morning America, but several morning TV shows like Pittsburgh and a bunch of others, and made some extra sales. And I got in a bunch of stuff, but they're kind of automating that whole process, which I think is really cool. And so this fourth quarter, there's a run up. You can't wait till end of October and do this. You're almost out of time now
Right.
to get going on this and try to capture some sales. And they got TikTok influencers, and TikTok, that's another whole nother topic. TikTok is going to be, people say right now, where are the 3 places that you should be focusing on, or where are the places you should be focusing on as an e-commerce seller? And I still say Amazon's number one. It's always going to be number one for the foreseeable future. But then you're looking at Walmart and then TikTok. TikTok Shop, I think, is going to explode. This is not going to be another Wish.com or another Temu or something like that. I think they have the ingredients and the power to actually do something right. In fact, right after this call, I have a call with their head of business development for all of North America. Wants to chat with me, and so I think, and they're making a huge push, for the holidays. If you sign up in their store, they're giving up to 50% discounts, and they're underwriting that. So if you're selling your product for $20 and you give a 50% discount, you're not eating that $10. They're going to pay you back the $10. It's a promotional expense for them to just get this thing going.
Mhm.
I think they're striving to hit $20 billion in sales this fourth quarter. I think they're gonna be a player in setting up their own fulfillment. Once they have TikTok Pay, they know what you've been looking at. TikTok is the number one new product discovery platform right now. I think could be major. Is it going to unseat Amazon? No, I don't think it'll ever unseat Amazon. But is it going to make a big run and maybe unseat Walmart.com as another channel? I think it's possible. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I know someone in the Helium 10 Elite. She sells $6 million a year on Amazon. She started in TikTok earlier this spring. In the first 6 months she was on TikTok, she'd done $2 million. And she could have done more, but TikTok put limits on it because it was in testing. So she could only have, I think it was 200 orders per day or some limit. It's a fraud prevention kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so she was hitting the $200 a day per sales by like 10 a.m. and have to
Wow.
wait till the next day. So she could have done way more than that. I don't know if that limit is still there. This was a month or two ago. She told us about this. She's actually talking about it at the next Helium 10 Elite in-person event in October. But yeah, it's fascinating what's happening there. And so Levanta can help you tie into this whole ecosystem, especially when it comes to Amazon. They're specialized in Amazon, driving traffic to Amazon, helping Amazon sellers get that outside traffic. So I think if you haven't looked into it, you should look into it.
Right. Okay. So let's see. We got a bunch of questions. We want to start with that, Kels?
Yes. Yeah. So let's get into the questions. The first is a comment from Artie. Scary part is that Amazon is using AI to evaluate your products and decide if people like it or not. Have you heard of this at all?
Yeah, that they're doing some of that. I think they'll refine this, and they have the data. And I think, they may miss out on some cases, but I think it's going to get fine tuned enough to where they're going to be really good at doing this. I don't trust Amazon on a lot of things, on creating a new listing right now using AI to create your listing, or I don't trust them when they say you need to ship in this many products. This is your forecast, because they don't know what you're doing marketing wise. They don't have any idea. So there's some aspects of what Amazon suggests that I think is hogwash. But when it comes to the actual true data of knowing what customers want, what they click on, I think they're pretty damn good at it. So I think it may be a little messy at first, but I think it's going to get fine tuned to where it's really good.
Okay.
All right. Hey guys, do you guys have any references for registering trademarks in Canada and the US? I am from the UK.
Yeah, you can do it yourself, but I recommend you call Rich Goldstein. It's Rich, RICH. It's Goldstein Patent Law, GOLDSTEIN, GOLDSTEIN, patent, PATENT, law, or as you say in the UK, well, y'all say it differently. Y'all say, y'all say it. You don't say patent. You say some different way of saying it, but the same thing. That's not as cheap as doing it yourself, but it's going to be done freaking right. And so that's who I would contact. There are agencies and people that will do it for you. You do have to do them separately, but that's who I would contact.
Okay, next one is from Chuck. What is the difference between a newsletter and a blog?
A huge difference. A blog, people have to go to. A blog, newsletter, you go to them. So how many times you bookmark it, you have your favorite blog and you bookmark it, maybe, and is it part of your morning ritual when you're drinking your coffee to go scroll through all those blogs? Probably not. But when you get a newsletter to your inbox, you either got to delete it, open it, or read it. And it's right. It's push instead of pull technology. Blogs pull, newsletters push. And so it's a huge, huge, huge difference. Now, some people will use their newsletter and link out to a longer story on a blog, and that's okay. You want newsletters to be a quick read, 3 to 5 minutes tops. They should be skimmable, formatted in a way there's a lot of science to doing a newsletter besides just having cool content. It's the formatting. It's no paragraphs more than 2 or 3 sentences, no big long blocks of text, short and to the point. Provide value in what you're saying, not just, hey, in our blog today, we talk about how to launch on Amazon. Read the blog here. That's a piece of shit newsletter. There's a lot of them in our space. But that blog should say, did you know that you can launch it should have some sort of information in that. And then say, read the whole details here. It's like if I was doing something on TikTok, it might be, TikTok is giving up to 50% discounts for sellers or supplement or funding up to 50% discounts for sellers, and they plan to do $20 billion a year. Learn how to get involved by reading the blog. You could do something like that. And then blogs can be used for SEO. So as a newsletter or as a long post, if you do those right and run those through some SEO tools, then if people are just on Google or Bing and they're searching for how to launch your product on TikTok or whatever, they might find your blog and then get them into your newsletter. Also, with a blog, you don't own the customer. You don't own you don't even own the pixel that you're pixeling them with. With a newsletter, you own the customer. I mean, you own at least their email address. Hopefully more than that, but at least their email address. You know who they are. So 3 years from now, someone that's read 3 of your newsletters, you could go back to them and say, hey, we got a new thing. Someone that's read your blog 3 times, you have no clue who they are,
Right.
other than a pixel that may be in a Facebook audience that you don't control, and you could easily lose.
Great answer.
Huge difference.
Yep.
All right. And are you able to say how many subscribers you have for your newsletter?
Right now, I have a little over 5,000. on the billiondollar-sellers.com newsletter. Some people, when they create a newsletter, like I said the example to Perry earlier, he's just sending it to everybody on his list. My trainer, he had a list of like 700 people that have, contacted him or done different things over the last years. He just sent his whole newsletter to that list. I don't do that. To me, that's a marketing promotion. I send out everybody on my list. My list is pretty big. And I said, do you want the newsletter or not? Sign up for it. And then you have to double opt in. You don't just sign up. You have to actually confirm. So I lose some people in that process. But I want people that actually want it, that actually want to read it, that want it. So it's a quality audience. So that's good for me for selling things. That's good for the algorithm. So if there's a lot of riffraff on your newsletter, or you're sending out just to your whole list of customers, everybody that's registered for your warranty, the open rates are lower. Some may report it as spam. It's going to affect everything else. So you may not be delivered to a lot of people, and you may be shooting yourself in the foot. So that's why I'm doing it that way. So there's a lot of people, they have a preconceived notion about newsletters. When you say sign up for my newsletter, like they roll their eyes. They're like, oh, I already get like 16 emails a day from all these others. Jungle Scout has a newsletter. Data Dive has a newsletter. Helium 10 has one. I get the ones.
There's a million of them.
There's a million of them, and they're like, I don't read them all. They're just a bunch of crap. So that's the first reaction. And so people just say, nah, I don't need another email. But what's happening, what I'm noticing with mine is once they're in it and they actually start reading it, they're like, no, I actually want this. And that's what you need to create. And that's the hard part, is doing that. And it takes the ability to curate, the ability to write, the ability to really know your audience and know your avatar, whether you're doing Amazon or dogs or whatever it may be. And that's the challenge that a lot of people are going to fail at.
And you're not going to please everybody.
No, you can't. And mine is deliberately edgy on purpose. Sometimes I'll put a little jokes in there. I'll put a picture. One of my subject lines was naked girl on the balcony. And I had a couple people, I had one guy message me back and say, take me off of this garbage right now. I'm like, great. See you. Bye. Later.
Yeah.
But I had hundreds of people, literally, this is awesome. This is so cool. This is refreshing. It's not corporate. And I had another person, and you might know who they are, and they're in the corporate world, one of these big corporations. She replied back. She said, seriously, that was the subject line? And I wrote her back, yeah, absolutely. That's all I said. And she unsubscribed. And good. If you try to please everybody, you please nobody. So you got to find your audience and know your audience. And I know my audience. And so when I get those emails of people that want off, as long as it's not everybody, you don't want to like offend everybody. But if it's one or two people that think it's garbage and everybody else is loving it to death, then I'm doing something right.
Yep. All right.
Okay, we got one last comment from Neil. I want to try Laventa, but I'm worried about stocking out. Stocking out is terrible. If the product takes off due to influencers, it takes over 100 days to manufacture and ship our inventory into Amazon. Any comments about this?
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, you could start off with just one product and just don't go after one of these big, big sites with a lot of traffic, and just see if it works. I don't know if Laventa, you pay a monthly fee. I think they charge a monthly fee. So you have to pay that fee, but you could start off small. You don't have to just blow it out of the water initially.
You could pick one and see how it goes, and then pick another, right?
Yeah, you could try it on a small level. It might cost you a little bit more because I think they do have a monthly fee of some sort. I think like $100. I don't know what it is. There's a monthly like just software access maintenance fee, but you could try it on a small level. And if it starts doing really well, then stop it. And then now know, holy cow, this worked. So then go back on your next order and order more, be prepared for it. You'll know kind of what to expect. Or maybe you try it and it's just crickets and the sound of silence for you. You're like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, I know when I've told you about this story when we were working with the pillow company, and we would be looking at all of a sudden our monthly sales would go up $100,000, and it was 3 times a year. And all of a sudden, like, we were trying to figure out what it was. And this is before you had to enter your product to Wirecutter. $100,000 a month from Wirecutter, or when they promoted it. We had no idea, no clue when they were promoting it. And boom, the sales would be there. It was crazy. But that's the type of effect you can have. Now, this is a big company that, we were managing the brand for, but that's just to let you know that if it takes off, it could be nice. Now, Wirecutter has a whole different structure now. So, you apply, they've just signed up. I was talking to Levanta this morning, and Wirecutter just signed up. So now you can sign up and become part of Wirecutter, or at least apply to be on the Wirecutter site. So anyways, I just said it, Kev.
Yep.
Was that one time or two times?
I don't know. Kelsey's been keeping track back there. We had a side bet going on.
Okay. How many times, Kels?
I don't know.
We actually, Hayden made this little soundbite too. Anytime you say it.
Anyway.
That's great.
Okay. I'm not going to say that word. But are there any other questions, or is that it?
We have, let me see, a comment from AMZ Elites. We had the same with German influencer. She posted about our mushroom complex, 50K in one weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Let me ask you, did you do something for that influencer? Even though they might not have been officially promoting you, did you go back and thank them and actually send them like a gift package? Or I know someone that's done this in podcasting. They would get on a lot of podcasts, and then they would allow the podcast host to allow them to promote something. So how do people find your product, or how to get in touch with you? And they'd give the URL or whatever. And then anybody that signed up, she would keep track of it. And then a month later or 2 months later, she would send the podcaster a check or a wire or whatever for $300 or $400, $500 and say, thank you so much. It's totally unexpected from the podcaster, but they're like, holy cow, I know that was really cool of her. You want to come back on the podcast again? And if you do something like that in that mushroom case, you may turn that 50K into 500K.
Yeah. When I was at M3 last week, this lady, just talking about mushrooms, had this mushroom spray. It was like, and don't start thinking about magic mushrooms, but it was a spray, and it was a 3-second energy boost. And I said, yeah, right. And I'm telling you, it was like that Energy 5 or 5-hour energy, but it was instant. The second you put it into your mouth, and it was 2 squirts, you'd feel energy, and it would last for 8 hours, and you could still go to sleep. So if you had, let's say, an hour's worth of studying, you could go to sleep after it. It didn't dictate whether you were up or not. It really was magical without the hallucinations. And anyway, I caught myself.
Yeah, you did. Good job.
So
every time you do that, you get 2 taken away. So.
Yeah, okay. But it was one of these products that's awesome, and I really hope she has some great success on Amazon, but it's going to be tough for her to get that product out there. One of the best products I've ever seen.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to do demonstratable stuff or to crack on Amazon, but that's where TikTok comes in.
Yeah, I'm spraying your cigars down with it, by the way, next time we meet.
All right, so we'll be up all night smoking.
It's not like when we get together, we're not up all night smoking.
I'll have 4 cigars and you'll still be on your first. Halfway smoked. But you'll be on the second Coke Zero and I'll still be on the first.
Exactly. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other questions. The prize today is Kelsey. We're giving away 1 hour of Kelsey's time. You could talk about anything with him, but primarily influencer marketing or his social media and how he does that. If you're interested in that. Oh, and we also have a press release that we'll give away as well. If you're interested, this is your last chance. You got about 30 seconds. Hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people. You get a second entry. And let's get to a sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Rebate. Attention sellers and brand owners, want to reach more shoppers and boost sales? Rebate's platform connects sellers with shoppers seeking great deals on new products. They make it easy to offer promotions, handle rebates, and ensure seamless redemptions. With countless reviews from satisfied customers, Rebate is the go-to solution to increase your sales. Visit rebate.com today and start reaching more shoppers. Now let's get back to the show. Okay, we're back. I see there's one more entry, Kels. Just came in.
All right, I'll make sure to add them. And yeah, let's head over to the wheel.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen. All right, so if you are the winner of today's Wheel of Kelsey, make sure you email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. You have a ton of entries today. And don't forget to sign up for our 500th episode. It's over 25K worth of prizes for one single person. So
You got it. Oh, wow. That was so close.
All right, Michael V, I believe. This is Michael V. Congratulations. And yeah, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And looking forward to your consultation.
Yeah, and Kevin, in case you don't know, AMZ Elite is Tom from the group.
AMZ Elite
is Tom from BDSS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Okay. So I think that's it. Anything else, Kev? We haven't talked about your BDSS event in Hawaii. If people want to sign up, I think Kelsey put the link in. We'll put it in definitely. But you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. That's next May. Well, there's a virtual one in February 21st and 22nd for people that don't want to travel or don't want to spend the money. It's a cheaper one. I got some really cool speakers. I'll be announcing soon on that. It's a really good lineup. The speakers for Hawaii are all set except for whoever wins the virtual one gets an automatic ticket. That one is May 18th to 23rd on the island of Kauai, Hawaii at the Hyatt Regency. Beautiful hotel there. We're doing some really, really cool stuff around it. Got some great speakers. We're doing a amazing race, TV show style road race one day at 25 Avis rental cars. Going to be randomly put into teams and going to go get to see the whole island. And as you know, you've been there, you know that that's a very diverse island, from deserts and Grand Canyons on one side to 10,000-foot waterfalls on the other side. So we're doing some really cool stuff around that. It's not a cheap event to come to, but it's high level. About 120 to 150 people will be there. But the average seller, or last time, was the median of their sales was 13.5 million. So it's if you want, and the beautiful thing about it is it's not just show up at an event, it's the community around it. And so as we were talking earlier, there's a WhatsApp group for people that have been to the last two. I didn't start this for the beginning ones, but that WhatsApp group is extremely active still right now. And the last one was in Puerto Rico in June. So 3.5 months later, that group every day, there's sometimes 40, 50 posts in there, sometimes 5 or 10, but of cool stuff being shared. And it's a great resource for, hey, I got this problem. Anybody know how to contact this? It's very, very valuable. So it goes beyond just coming to an event and listening to some presentations, which are good, because I put a cash prize on the presentation. So whoever gets voted by the audience as the best speaker gets $5,000 cash. And I publish the list of the top 10. And so everybody wants to be in that top 10. Nobody wants to be embarrassed and not be in the top 10. So everybody's bringing out their A game and trying to bring the best stuff. So they're sharing things they don't share elsewhere. And the speaker lineup, I've got 8 women speaking in Hawaii. Out of the 13 speakers, there's 8 of some of the smartest women in this space that are speaking, including, one a lot of people are looking for is the president of PacView is speaking. She's one of the she's hard to get to speak, but she knows stuff on PPC. And so she's like, what do you want? I just saw her in Seattle. She's like, what should I speak on? I said, it's up to you. And she's like, just make it cool and something different. Not, here's how to do AI on your PPC or something. She's like, what if I talk about what the Chinese are doing on PPC that nobody's doing in the United States and how they're crushing it? It's like, that would be great. That would be brilliant. That's the kind of stuff you'll learn that you're not going to learn elsewhere. So that's, it's you've been to them, Norm. Kelsey, you've been to what, 1 or 2 now?
1.
Oh yeah, you went to Puerto Rico. That's right, Puerto Rico. I know you're banned from coming to Hawaii. Your dad said he's got to rotate it through the other sons. Right? They give everybody a chance.
Yep.
But, I'm sorry about that, man. Maybe you can come to Iceland next year.
The first time hearing. So like some brothers, I think.
Now, Kelsey will put that information up. Also, I think it's important to say hotel rooms. So they're not included. You have to buy them. And if you don't buy them early, the prices of the hotel rooms are going to go up.
Yeah, the hotel right now, we have a room block and we negotiate the hotel. If you go on like Expedia, it's $800 a night, roughly.
Yeah.
Right, $800 US dollars, not Canadian dollars, $800 US dollars a night. Let me clarify that. And the rates will probably, as it gets closer, go to $1,400 to $1,500 per night. We have a rate of $379. Well, with the resort fee, it's $424. So $424 a night. And I just got a report from them. Actually, they gave me access to this back end Friday, I think, or Monday of this week. And I saw there's only 14 rooms left under our room rate because a lot of people already bought tickets and reserved.
Yep.
Them. So the people that wait, there's always people that wait. They got to see their schedule. But the people that wait, you're going to be staying in some crappy Airbnb somewhere 5 miles, 10 miles away, or they're going to be paying through the nose, or they're going to be begging someone else that they're going to be saying, Norm, can I sleep on your floor?
Like Kelsey.
Yeah. So it's yeah. If you think you can swing it, don't wait. If there's something comes up and you can't make it, I roll the ticket. The tickets are non-refundable, but I roll it to the next event. So that always happens. There's people that some conflict, somebody's getting graduating from high school or some sickness or whatever. You don't lose it. It just gets rolled to the next event.
All right. Okay. So thank you, sir. We covered a lot of territory today. Newsletters, AI, Levante, a little bit of everything. But thank you for coming on.
Yep. It's always good to come on and shoot the bird with you guys.
Yeah, shooting the bird. I've never heard that expression.
I didn't want
Texas
to
thing.
shoot the shit.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. All right. So
there's children listening. Someone's driving in their car right now, and there's children listening.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and I always enjoy shooting the bird with you too. Okay, so I'm sure everybody enjoyed today's episode. I'm sure everybody learned something today. But anyway, almost caught it. I'm getting better at it, but it's still such a habit. It's like any habit. I can't stop. It takes time to break. But thank you for joining us today. Kels, is there anything that we need to finish off this podcast with?
All right. Well, we have our sign up for the episode 500 ready. It's good to go. So if you sign up here, you'll get the notification for the links for episode 500, and also you'll be entered into the 25K draw.
Oh, it's over 25K.
Yeah. It's getting
well over
25K. So make sure you sign up below to enter in the wheel. And looking forward to it. Make sure you smash those like buttons, give us a thumbs up. You can find this episode in about a week's time on your podcast and YouTube, and we'll clean it up and edit this video down a little bit to make it nice and sweet. And I think that's it.
All right. And just one quick note on that 500th episode, spread the word. It would be what we're trying to do is get a pretty large audience. We're trying to reach people that have never heard of the podcast before and get them to come on. One thing about the Wheel of Kelsey, we feel that there's probably going to be a lot of entries, and it's not just one. It's a 4-hour podcast, and we're going to be doing one every hour, but the main one will be right at the end, and it will already be selected randomly. So the announcement of the winner will be shown, but you just can't fit that many people onto the wheel. So the only way is to go to the landing page, enter your email, and that way you'll get on the Wheel of Kelsey. And good luck, because it'll be a great one. The prizes that we have are phenomenal. And even for the second, third, and fourth wheel as well. And that's it. All right, everybody, join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. I always say this at the end of every podcast. Our community is awesome. If you're not part of the community, head over to our Facebook group and join Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA collective. And we will see you on Friday. And you'll get that update on how our influencer challenge is going. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.
Entrepreneur.